In the world of aspiring dancers, flexibility training is never just about bending further or holding a stretch longer. It is a rigorous, deeply personal journey, a continuous confrontation with the boundaries of the human body, the strength of willpower, and the quiet determination to overcome both. Day after day, this journey unfolds in silence, before sunrise, behind the studio doors. Each morning, as the city remains wrapped in sleep, dance students have already stepped into the mirrored studio, warmed by soft light and marked by the quiet creak of wooden floors. The yoga mats lie in precise rows, and the air is filled with the faint scent of rosin and sweat. At the bar, young dancers move through their stretches with unwavering focus, their eyes locked on their reflections, correcting every detail, no matter how small. These scenes repeat endlessly, forming the rhythm of their lives, a loop of discipline that shapes not only their bodies, but their souls. The beginning of every flexibility session often arrives with discomfort, and not infrequently, pain. Especially in the early phases of training, when joints are tight and muscles resist movement, each stretch feels like a battle. The body protests. Sometimes it shakes. Sometimes it aches to the point of tears. But dancers learn to read these sensations not as warnings to stop, but as signs of transformation. They come to understand, without this pain, there is no progress. Without this effort, there is no artistry. So they press on, inch by inch, breath by breath. From barely touching their toes to achieving a deep backbend or an effortless split, the changes in their bodies are gradual but profound. They don't always notice the progress day to day, but then one afternoon, their hands rest flat on the floor, or their legs stretch into a perfect line in the mirror. The teacher nods. Their peers smile. A sense of quiet accomplishment rises, not because the work is over, but because it is working. Over time, flexibility training rewires their bodies. Muscles grow supple, joints loosen, and movement becomes both more expansive and more precise. A single forward leg hold may require hundreds of attempts to perfect. The hips must remain square, the knees fully extended, the feet energetically pointed. Backbends require not only limber spines, but controlled power in the core and legs. Each motion demands conscious awareness of alignment, tension, and flow. Behind the smooth execution of any pose lies an ocean of corrections, repetitions, and internal dialogue. But what truly earns respect is not merely their physical evolution, but the mental strength developed through this ongoing process. The most difficult days are not always the most painful, but the most doubtful, when fatigue sets in, progress stalls, and the mirror seems to reflect only failure. In these moments, continuing feels harder than starting. Yet the dancers return. Again and again. Through tears, through exhaustion, through frustration, they choose to stay. To try. To believe in the long arc of mastery. What begins as physical discipline gradually becomes emotional and spiritual cultivation. Flexibility training teaches patience, real patience, the kind that endures months without visible results. It teaches presence, because each stretch requires full attention. It teaches humility, because the body has limits, and learning to work within them, and push beyond them safely, is a lifelong practice. More importantly, flexibility lays the foundation for every other technical skill in dance. The dynamic twists of contemporary dance, the controlled extensions of ballet, the sweeping lines of Chinese classical movement, all depend on the body's ability to bend, stretch, and rebound. A dancer without flexibility is like a painter without a full color palette, limited in expression, unable to bring emotion to life through motion. Flexibility is not just a physical quality, it is the doorway to artistic freedom. Under the careful guidance of their teachers, dancers refine their movements down to the smallest detail. Teachers do more than correct posture, they transmit values, attitude, and an understanding of aesthetics. Every moment in flexibility training is a balance between form and feeling, between technical standards and artistic intention. Teachers adjust their shoulders, guide their hips, correct their gaze, even ask them to breathe differently, all to help the dancer not just look correct, but feel connected. In the group setting of a dance class, an unspoken bond forms. While each student fights their own inner battles, they are never alone. The studio becomes a space of shared energy, where effort becomes contagious. Watching a peer reach a new milestone motivates others to keep going. Witnessing someone struggle reminds them to offer compassion. In this space of healthy competition and mutual encouragement, they become not just dancers, but a community, a family forged through discipline and dreams. Behind every beautiful pose on stage, there is an unseen history of struggle. Countless hours spent pressing the chest closer to the floor, repeating the same sequence until the body learns it by heart. Countless nights icing sore muscles, massaging bruises, or falling asleep in pain. And yet, there is beauty in this sacrifice. Because every drop of sweat, every moment of perseverance, becomes part of the dancer's story, a story told not through words, but through movement. Flexibility training, for the outside world, may seem repetitive or even mundane. But for dancers, it is a sacred practice. It is where discipline is built, where character is forged, and where the seeds of artistry take root. It is through this quiet, persistent work that ordinary individuals transform into extraordinary performers. When they finally step onto the stage, they carry with them not just talent, but hours of invisible preparation. Every stretch, every strain, every small improvement, each one becomes a thread in the tapestry of their performance. To dance is to dream with the body. And flexibility training, though slow and often difficult, is what gives those dreams wings.